In the past week, Apple has released a new series of Macs alongside software features that they call Apple Intelligence. We have new features for Siri, new features for transcription and intelligence, summarization of notifications. So let's just go around the table first to introduce my guests on Tech Asia.
Hi, it's me, Tamim. I am from Bangladesh. I work with social enterprise and the Daily Star as a contributor on tech news and lifestyle issues.
Hi, I'm Tim. I use AI every single day. I actually use ChatGPT on a daily basis in every single work task I do. And I'm super excited for this space, especially because I only use Apple devices.
What's the feature that you're most excited about in this latest release?
I think you guys have seen some of their ads on writing tools. I think that seemed pretty effective on how someone can have such a handy tool in their daily use. What I think is more powerful is that Apple users, they necessarily doesn't have to have a third-party AI application to get all these generative models to fit in their daily use.
I think back to when Siri was first implemented on an iPhone, and it was just so limited. You couldn't send a text through WhatsApp by Siri because Siri wasn't allowed access to WhatsApp. But finally, we're seeing an ecosystem that actually functions as an ecosystem with AI reaching into all the different sides or different applications on the Apple devices, which is so exciting for me.
So I've been playing around with Apple Intelligence since it came out last week, and there's a new beta out, so we can take a look at what it looks like first and foremost in the Notes app. I had worked out a script a little while back, and you can see that once I select everything, there should be a little symbol right there that pops up for Apple Intelligence. So maybe let's just run it through. This is all running locally on my Mac. And it takes a second because it's a lot of text. But it's giving me, just a summary that you would get on ChatGPT. The difference is, obviously, as Tim was saying, this is all running locally on device. You're not giving your data away to OpenAI.
These are the claims that Apple makes with Apple Intelligence.
Your data is never stored or made accessible to Apple. It's used exclusively to fulfill your request. And just like your iPhone, independent experts can inspect the code that runs on these servers to verify this privacy promise.
Yeah, that's just so exciting to me. I don't know. I don't really buy into the trusting Apple or trusting OpenAI with our data, but I'm also not one to try and keep my data from them. But I'm so excited by it that I'm willing to give up that privacy, I guess.
It's a trade-off, and personally, that's one of the more exciting things about Apple Intelligence. Most people who are concerned about privacy will give in to the convenience of it and just kind of cave to that. And that's kind of what we've seen with OpenAI so far, right?
Yeah, I think as a South African, we live in a very unsafe country. And the concept of people complaining because there's too many cameras documenting them is crazy to us, because we would like more cameras to document us as we walk around the street, because that would make us safer. Because of this upbringing in South Africa, I'm more willing to give up privacy for the sake of convenience, for the sake of safety in other aspects.
For personal data rights, I think there needs to be certain concerns how they're going to keep the user's information safe and private, but then again, they're stealing in an incognito mode. So it's kind of like a very rough future it's coming ahead.
What Tamim is talking about with Google still collecting data about its users from incognito mode. The prompt that they gave you when you went into incognito mode was saying Google will not collect data about you. It was quite misleading. And it turns out that they were using that to target advertising at you. And that's why Apple coming into this space with, big claims of keeping your data secure and caring about your data, which is more founded, I feel, than other companies like OpenAI or like Google, even if we don't trust them 100%. That's a pretty big deal, at least for me. Here, Tim, what was the other feature you wanted to take a look at?
Maybe this is a side branch, but the 18.2, the integration of the ChatGPT OpenAI.
All right, so I've got the 18.2 beta right now. Last time I tried to ask it if it could talk to ChatGPT, and it said that there was no ChatGPT in my contacts, which was a great success for Siri.
I mean, on this topic, there are definitely bugs still in the software. However, 18.2, as far as I can see from the reports, runs smoother, uses less battery power, but we're only going to see it publicly in December, I believe. Is that correct?
Something like that. Yeah, no, so I've just downloaded the beta. This is not something that most people have access to. Here, can you talk to me? I'm wanting to pretend that I'm talking to a friend with ChatGPT. I didn't get that. Could you try again? Can you connect to ChatGPT? Let's just keep it simple. And it's sending me to a ChatGPT knockoff on the App Store. So definitely 18.2 beta still has some teething issues to work out.
Okay, so I have used just the ChatGPT advanced voice mode. So like what surprised me. So I was having a conversation with ChatGPT like just like another human. So even I was sort of trying to interrupt in between each sentence is what he was trying to say off. And all of a sudden, I sort of changed myself into Bangla and asked him, like, can you understand Bangla? What surprised me that ChatGPT laughed at me and responded me in Bangla as well. I mean, it was quite promising what ChatGPT is coming up with their own voice system.
Yeah, I think another feature that they're adding is the ability to take out people, places, trees, whatever from the background, and the new beta seems to be able to do that as well. But judging by the quality of their broader AI, I just wonder if that's actually going to be very good.
In terms of creating images and videos, there are like other third-party applications, per se, Kling or Runway or Leonardo. I think Apple has sort of created more intuitive user experience, like UI, to generate the images. But in terms of result, I think if they want to really create a generated image, are they really willing to use Apple AI, or are they going to use any other platforms? That's the questions. Because I mean, just to have conversation, or like just to send a customized emoji per se, or avatar, how much would be used for more specific purposes and like tasks. So I'm looking forward next year. Maybe Apple might be coming with more generated functions.
It's as you say, like these features so far, if you actually want to create like high quality pictures, you're not going to stay on Apple. You're going to go to Stable Diffusion. You're going to go to Adobe's Firefly. That gives you way more tools to actually edit the photos and to make sure that you have like more details. But there is a space, as Apple has seemingly decided as well, for features that are more basic, like those almost 2-year-old looking AI generated Genmoji and little quips that you can send to people. I remember when AI images just started coming out. I mean, we still had a lot of fun with that, and having that integrated directly into your phone, so that people who don't know what an Adobe is or whatever, so that they can actually use those features. There is still value to that, I feel.
Yeah, I feel that too. It's more playful to work with. I mean, not too much complicated stuff, like visualize ideas or concepts.
So maybe let's just take a look at what those image editing features look like. So I've just shared a picture from yesterday, a lovely picture. It's vaguely horrifying to fit the mood of this week. But here, if we edit it, let's say I want to remove this poster in the background. I want to make sure that the people
complicated graphic.
So this one doesn't allow you to actually modify and like say what you want to generate. As you can see, this is actually a worse result than I actually thought we'd get. This is really bad. So I gave it a challenging test.
Yeah, you gave it quite challenging photo for AI. I mean, masking with all the relevant colors around.
But
they can't even identify if it's a human or not.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
that is a fair mistake to make. But here, since we have a little bit of time, let's just open Photoshop.
Okay,
So if you just like remove background or something.
So maybe I would just try to use the lasso tool and just try to like do a very bad selection.
I mean, it mirrors the one that I did. I didn't do a very high effort thing. My poor parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But that's much better.
Pretty much. Okay, not only he removed the text, also he added extra details to a company with like all other details. So
Yeah, because they had
it
also
matches
you had
well.
also selected some of arms, so it like put the arm back in. So it's way smarter as we've showcased. It's way smarter than what
And this
Apple's
is much
tools
better
are.
result here.
Yeah. This is less of a generational leap for Apple and more of a just playing catch up. You know, all of these features have existed before, but they're new to Apple, so that's why we're talking about them basically. Yeah, another one of the features that we had talked about was the transcription. So transcription of notes. This is something that I really love, and that as a reporter I'm literally using every day. I was doing some interviews with interns, and wanted to make sure that I have the interviews in mind because I had, I don't know, 11 interviews to do. So I read them. It gave me a transcript. I'm able to figure out, okay, like this is what this intern was telling me. I can even ask it for a summary, which it's going to give me right now. I don't think the summary is going to be very useful. So yeah, and sometimes it lags out. So it's still early days for these kinds of features. And as you can see, sometimes it just decides, nope, I don't want to work. And you just have to deal with that.
The update you have now, does it have the live reading?
So on the iPhone 16, you can hold down the camera control button right here and get access to, let's see if it recognizes a MacBook. I'm gonna ask it, what is this device? So it's asking ChatGPT instead of the Apple models. And the answer it's giving us is this recording equipment, laptop, and professional lighting. So it's recognized that it's a studio, which is
Amazing.
relatively good given that, it only had like half of a light going on in like a laptop like this. But yeah, it goes through ChatGPT, basically sends the same picture. So if you've used the ChatGPT app, it's essentially the same thing, which I'm surprised by. I thought it would actually be something that Apple developed a little bit more than just, oh, we'll send it off to ChatGPT. Again, like that's a big contradiction. We care about your data, but if you don't care about your data, we'll happily market our features about.
I'm wondering if we're going to see these great features come out in their base level in the iPhone 16, and then we will only really have access to the premium built-up versions in the iPhone 17 when that comes out. But I don't know. I hope we will still access them with the iPhone 16.
This is the start. We're looking forward to seeing how things evolve when Apple finally does more than just reach the bar and tries to set out for something a little bit more ambitious. But you'll have to stick around with us to hear about it when it happens.
And pretty much, I hope they just don't work with their privacy, but they also have more functionality and accessibility regarding how they're going to use Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, as Tim said, as long as the trade-off for privacy and security is worth it to people, they will take it. That's something that we've seen in the past 20 years.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe I would walk away from this call being convinced to get the iPhone 16. I'm not quite there yet. Perhaps I will be there in the next couple of weeks once the software does get released to the public.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for at least being convinced to come onto this show. And until next week, I guess you'll have to take care.